In this video, we'll be looking at cops who got owned by higher authority, so let's get right into it. We kick things off with a very rude cop who demands an ID from the man who was just filming with his drone. The man keeps telling him that he doesn't have to do that because he didn't commit any crime and that it's his right to film things. A person was flying their drone outside a state police facility and videotaping the surroundings. An officer approached and asked, "Who are you?" The person replied confidently, "I don't need to provide that." The officer insisted they had the right to know and claimed it was necessary due to suspicions of a crime. Despite the person explaining that filming in public is legal and not a suspicion of a crime, the officer remained stubborn and disregarded the Supreme Court's ruling on the matter. Another officer arrived but remained passive throughout the encounter. Frustrated, the person asked for their sergeant, believing things would work in their favor. To their surprise, the sergeant confirmed the person's rights and stated they didn't need to identify themselves. The rude cop had to accept his mistake and leave the scene. The sergeant apologized to the person for the inconvenience caused by the rude cop's behavior. The man said that better education for law enforcement on citizens' rights would be beneficial for future encounters. Up, we have a very similar situation where a guy was just filming in public exercising the First. The amendment to the right of freedom of the press came face to face with a surprising challenge. A female police officer, keen on upholding public safety, encountered a guy taking photos in a busy public area. Suspecting something amiss, she approached him and demanded to see his ID. The guy, feeling his rights were being violated, refused and questioned the officer's actions. The situation escalated as he defended himself, explaining that he was just capturing the moment and wore a ski mask for protection against the wind while riding his bike. The verbal exchange continued, with both parties standing firm on their positions. Just then, the officer's supervisor arrived at the scene. The guy seized the opportunity to explain the situation to the supervisor, hoping for a fair resolution. However, the female cop accused him of lying, attributing it to his nerves. But the supervisor took the matter seriously and expressed a desire to review her body camera footage later. As it turned out, the officer had neglected to wear her body camera that day, leaving her defenseless when the supervisor asked for evidence of her actions. Embarrassed and flustered, she had to face the consequences of her unpreparedness. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a different set of officers demonstrated similar disregard for individual rights. They encountered a citizen recording a scene on his phone and reacted aggressively, confiscating his phone and placing him in cuffs without proper cause. These incidents sparked public outrage, leading to a greater emphasis on police accountability and the need to respect constitutional rights. The incidents became a turning point in the city's law enforcement policies, urging for better training and awareness of citizens' rights. In the end, these stories served as a reminder that the protection of individual freedoms and the right to report and document events should be cherished and safeguarded, even in the name of law enforcement. The incidents also highlighted the importance of transparency and accountability within the police force to maintain a just and fair society for everyone. Next up, we have these cops who took this guy's phone and placed him in cuffs just for filming. In this incident, a person found themselves in a police department parking lot when they were confronted by one of the officers. The person questioned the officer's authority.
Am I interfering?
Well, technically, now you're starting to pose into somebody else's private property with your videoing. Yes, sir. Hey, did they give you permission to film inside their truck?
I don't need permission out in public.
Expressing doubt about the police department's claim of being private property. However, the officer brushed off the inquiry and demanded the person's identification without addressing their concerns. To add to the troubling situation, another officer decided to take matters into their own hands and unlawfully turned off the person's phone. This act directly violated the person's First Amendment rights, as it hindered their ability to document the encounter and communicate freely. Despite the person's objections and insistence on their rights, the officer continued to threaten them with arrest for failing to provide identification. Undeterred, The individual firmly requested the presence of a lawyer to safeguard their legal rights. At a critical moment, a sergeant arrived at the scene, becoming aware of the situation. The sergeant engaged in a conversation with the initial officer, and though the exact details were not discernible, it became evident that the sergeant disagreed with the handling of the situation. Finally, the officer was overruled by their own superior, as the sergeant instructed that the person was free to go. It seemed the initial officer had been corrected by their superior's intervention. Understandably, the person was left feeling angry and frustrated by the incidents unfolding. They even mentioned the possibility of pursuing a lawsuit against the officers, seeking accountability for the violation of their rights and the distress caused by the encounter. And that's that for today's video, folks. We hope you enjoy this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Also, don't forget to comment below and let us know which things impressed you the most. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.